When Nigeria announced it was finally rebasing its GDP, economists in the country felt it was long overdue, coming some 13 years after the last one was done. Analysts had predicted the new rebased figure was going to make Nigeria the largest economy in Africa, but no one could tell for sure what the exact figure would be. When Nigeria's Statistician General eventually released the rebased GDP figure, it was $510 billion, surpassing expectations, but sparking fears the huge size of the economy could stagnate growth in a country that had consistently averaged a growth rate of 6.5%.
The bigger the economy in the real sense of it, the more difficult it is to move at a very high speed. We should in fact, as policymakers, should look very closely at China, because China is one big economy that has been able to perform, let me call it that miracle, of growing fast in spite of the size. So that really is the greatest challenge in the outcome of this rebasing.
If there's one thing the new GDP figure has done for Nigeria, it has forced investors that would have otherwise ignored the country to have a rethink. And despite the country's security challenges, the government says investments are pouring in.
We've had companies like Lafarge, for example, investing more than $100 billion in Gombe, for example. We have firms like companies, investors like Dangote, investing heavily in sugarcane to sugar in most of the northern states, in Taraba, in Adamawa, in all those, at least 5 of those northern states.
In spite of the investments in new GDP, Nigeria still has one of the highest unemployment rates on the continent. The scale of the problem was clearly demonstrated when in March this year, 6.5 million job seekers turned out for a recruitment test for just 400 vacancies in the Nigerian Immigration Service. About 16 persons died following a stampede during the exercise.
If investors will come into Nigeria, we should begin to look very closely at the number of jobs the investments we create, and not just in the quantum of investment, and not just in the fact that, yes, they brought in money. So we celebrate Nigeria as attracting the largest volume of foreign direct investment in Africa, which of course we have attained since 2009. So we have to look beyond that and begin to look at how these investments will begin to create jobs.
For ordinary Nigerians, it is difficult to understand how their country could be rated the biggest economy on the continent and still fail to provide them with jobs. It's a contradiction they are struggling to come to terms with, and the harder they try to understand it, the more confusing they get. More than anything else, the job crisis here remains the biggest challenge confronting the government. Deji Badmo, CCTV, Lagos, Nigeria.